Hi everybody and welcome back to the FPL Family YouTube channel. I'm Sam and it is Jammy Pick time again. Now first of all, my apologies for not having a Jammy Pick or top points pick video out last week. I literally didn't have any voice to make the videos even if I'd have wanted to, but I am back this week thinking about Jammy Picks. And of course, for those of you that don't know, a Jammy Pick is a player owned by under 5% of the game, a real differential, somebody that nobody else is really talking about right now. We don't have Game Week 9 Jammy Picks to recap like we do at the beginning of most of these videos. So we're going to have a little look back on the Game Week 8 ones because, of course, we haven't rounded them up yet. One of them was a bit of a disappointment. That's Neil Maupay. Let's leave him aside. Just the 2 points for him. But the other three all returning. Now, Phil Foden was the Jammy Pick at the end of that video. He registered 6 points for his assist in Game Week 8. Of course, just an early goer on him because what happens in Game Week 9? He had a phenomenal return. And, of course, as I did go with him and I did bring in my Jammy Pick for Game Week 8, was very, very pleased to have him in my team for the last two sets of returns. And hopefully those returns will continue through Game Week 10 also. Also had Harry Kane as a potential Jammy Pick for Game Week 8. He registered 12 points against Newcastle. And finally, I had Bobby Firmino as my other choice for Jammy Picks in Game Week 8. He went on an absolute riot against Watford and registered a huge 20-point haul. So all three of those guys doing really well. Let's just forget about Maupay for once. So let's go into the Jammy Picks then for Game Week 10. So remember, these all have to be owned by under 5% of the game. Now the first I'm going to start with, well, these are them. And I'm going to start up in the top corner with Rodrigo from Leeds. Now, he is currently owned by just 1.4% of FPL managers, so huge differential and definitely classes as a Jammy Pick. Scored a goal versus Wolves that wiped out that Wolves clean sheet and annoyed everybody a lot during Game Week 9. Was a penalty right at the death, got him 8 points for his FPL managers. But in the last 4 game weeks, he has been really quite impressive. 5 shots inside the box and 9 chances created. Both of those are team leading stats, so meaning that he has done the most of that stuff across the Leeds side. He has also had 3 shots on target, which is level with Rafinha. Again, then as a team leading total, and he is coming up against a Norwich defence who are quite frankly woeful. Yes, they have been a little bit better. Well, they were being a little bit better until they came up against Chelsea in Game Week 9, but they have been a little bit better before that. The Leeds defence hasn't been solid themselves, so the best form of defence is attack. I suspect that they'll go into that game aiming to attack, take the pressure off their defence, particularly as it seems likely now that Rafinha is going to be fit and available to start in that game at the weekend, which is great news for Rodrigo. So he is one of my potential options for top points picks for this week. Next to him on the graphic there, we have Chris Wood. He is 10th for XG underachievers when you look across the season as a whole so far for every player in the game. He's also second for aerial duels across the season so far with 83. 45 of those have been successful. He has only scored 1 goal so far, which is disappointing return from him and something that we maybe would have expected more of. But then Burnley don't score a lot of goals, so when they do, he does tend to get top-up points on that in terms of bonus points, that sort of thing. Part of the reason I picked him this week is because of what has happened at Brentford in losing Raya. Now, in the League Cup, we have seen that Brentford have not been solid defensively. They have conceded to Stoke City in that game. Without Raya and with Alvaro Fernandez likely to start, he looks like being their number 2. He's the only other goalkeeper that they have listed in the game that's currently with them. The other 2 are out on loan. He hasn't yet played a Premier League game, has no Premier League experience, and he's coming up against a Burnley side that do have a lot of Premier League experience across their midst. So I think Chris Wood, with his height, with his aerial presence, with his stature, will kind of go in there and try and bully that defence and see what happens. Let's see. I think that if the Brentford defence are ever going to be broached, it's now whilst they don't have Raya and they're not used to playing with their new goalkeeper. So Chris Wood, a potential Jammy Pick for Game Week 10. He is currently owned by just 1.2% of the game, so slightly less than the chappie next to him in Rodrigo. We've also got, if we go under Rodrigo, to James Ward-Prowse. Now, he's just about to come back from suspension, having picked up that red card. Before the red card, he had registered 2 goals so far during the course of the season. They're up against a Watford side who have conceded 139 shots so far, as well as allowing 100 crosses from the left and 98 from the right. Now, of course, we know James Ward-Prowse is going to be on set pieces. For Southampton, should they get them, he's the one that takes a lot of their free kicks. So I suspect that he will be the one putting in a lot of those crosses. Watford are susceptible to them. Now, we did see a bit of a bounce from Watford last time around in terms of their attacking returns, but of course they also did concede twice to Everton in that game too. So plenty of opportunity there for Southampton attacking returns. In James Ward-Prowse's absence, they've actually looked all right with Brozier coming in. So hopefully we'll see some attacking returns from Southampton, and if we do, he will be part of that, I'm absolutely sure, as their captain. And finally, alongside James Ward-Prowse there, we have Laporte. 5 clean sheets so far for him this season, 1 goal, 7 of the 9 Premier League games he has started, and rested in the EFL Cup on Wednesday evening. So that bodes well for him. Kyle Walker started, went off at half time, Cancelo came on, but as up to the time of recording, we hadn't seen anything from Laporte. Stones played instead of him. We also hadn't seen anything from Diaz either. He's also had 11 goal attempts so far this season. Only 3 defenders have had more goal attempts than Laporte has during the 21-22 season so far. All 11 of those have come from inside the box, and only Duffy has had more chances, shots from inside the box, than Laporte has. He's also registered 1 big chance and 5 headed attempts so far this season. Now, at 5.5 million, he is your cheapest, safest, for the cheap price tag, route into that City defence. Of course, with the City defence, there's always rotation possibility, but I think with Laporte, he is looking to be one of Pep's go-to players so far this season. He prefers him over John Stones. And with John Stones playing in the EFL Cup, I suspect that means that we will see Laporte again in the Premier League in Gameweek 10. And of course, they have a really nice fixture on paper against Crystal Palace. So nice fixtures for all of these guys on paper. All of them have the opportunity to get attacking returns. Laporte could easily double-digit haul in this game because I would expect a clean sheet from him alongside attacking returns. So we could easily see a big haul from him. And I think we might get one from Rodrigo also. So my jammy pick then for this week is going to be Rodrigo. I think those underlying stats look too good to overlook, particularly with Rafinha being there. And particularly given the opposition that they have and that they're going to face. Norwich defensively have been so awful so far this season that he could easily take this game by the scruff of its neck and get some massive returns for his owners. Should have said with Laporte and James Ward-Prowse, I forgot to mention their ownership stats. So Laporte owned by 4.9% of the game, so only just qualifying as a jammy pick for this week. And James Ward-Prowse owned by exactly 2% of the game. So that's it in terms of my jammy picks. Who is your jammy pick for game week 10? Let me know in the comments below who you think will be the best differential to own this week. If you've enjoyed the video, please hit that like button, and if you haven't already done so, hit the subscribe button. Tomorrow the top points pick video will be out, looking at who I think will be the highest scoring goalkeeper, midfielder, defender and forward in the game for game week 10, and Lee and I will be back as always on Sunday with our live stream. We'll see you then.